Hello, very warm welcome. You're watching Market Cafe on ET Now. This is Priyanka Uppal along with me, Shriyansi. With a lackluster start to the week, Indian indices lost the day in a sideways move. But then US stocks did try to make a comeback yesterday. Now, we're almost done with the earnings season. FI's selling has been relentless. But what are the cues for the day ahead? We set you up for the whole day, get you all the buzzing stocks, all the key brokerage notes. But first thing first, let's start with the US markets. Morning, Shriyansi.
Well, absolutely. Good morning, Priyanka. And when you take a look at the US markets, largely what you're looking at is, of course, the biggest cue that we are watching out for this week is Nvidia's earnings. That is something that we're keeping a very close eye on. That's the figure that's due on Wednesday morning US time. So that's something to watch out for. But let's also take a look at what really happened in terms of the day gone by in trade as well. When you take a look at futures, of course, you're not looking at much of a move coming in. Little change is where futures were at. And in terms of the S&P 500 companies as well, about 93% of the S&P 500 companies have reported quarterly results. So far, three quarters of those companies did exceed expectations, and more than 60% also beat revenue estimates. So that is also something that we're looking at. But what we really saw happening in the latest trading session was a little bit of a staging of comeback that we saw coming in. So whether you look at a tech-heavy Nasdaq composite, that is the one that gained 0.6% as well, snapped a 4-day losing streak. Or you look at a S&P 500 as well, you're looking at gains of just about 0.4% coming in there as well. Even when you take a look at Dow Jones, that's the one though, on the other hand, that fell just about 55 points, so 0.1%, but did mark 3 consecutive down sessions for the 30 stock index. So that largely is the kind of move that you're looking at. So it's Nasdaq composite as well as S&P 500 just holding on to those levels. And Nasdaq is the one that was eking out just slight gains, 0.6% uptick coming in for that one. Now, last week, we did see a post-election sell-off that was sparked by concerns about the future path of interest rates, given a strong economy as well as the labor market as well, that was showing some strength. So that is something that we were keeping an eye on last week. And you do have a lot of important updates coming in terms of Nvidia as well, because there's the Blackwell AI chips that we're watching out for in terms of the outlook that the company has about it. Nvidia also has had a little bit of a roller coaster week thus far, because on Monday you did have the stock shedding just about 1.3%, and yesterday the stock did climb just marginally. So that is largely the kind of handover that we have, at least as far as the US markets are concerned.
Absolutely, Nvidia earnings would be key to watch out for. At least that sets you the tone for the demand for the AI chips. But then let's get you the more triggers from at least crude as well as gold. But then before the dollar index, that one is inching higher. We're above 106, precisely 106.20 is the level where the dollar index is trading. But the crude oil prices, this one rise more than 3% to settle above $73, and this was majorly on a oil field from Norway, where we have seen an outage. Ukrainian war escalation, that one also helped oil price, oil, on a upper level. But then the prices now gained more than $2 per barrel on Monday, after especially these two set of news which came in from crude production, which got impacted at Norway's oil field, as well as which added to the earlier gains stemming from escalation of the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, Brent crude futures, that one also gained $2.26 on nearly 3.18% to close at $73.30. While US West Texas, if you talk about that future, that one settled at $69.16 per barrel, nearly up $2.14 or nearly 3.19%. But talking about the gold also surged on softer dollar, Russia-Ukraine tensions, gold prices. This one soared on Monday after 6 days of losses as the US dollar surge stalled and heightened uncertainty over the Russia and Ukraine conflict.
Well, absolutely. Safe haven demand being spurred is what we're just seeing in terms of gold prices. But moving on, then let's get to the cues that you should be watching out for. And from the Eurozone, you do have CPI data, as well as in terms of global earnings. Like we've told you, Nvidia is the one to look out for, along with Target as well. And in terms of action back home to watch out for, you do have a host of stocks that are going to be that it's going to be the last day to buy shares for to be eligible for dividends. So I'm talking about Cochin Shipyard, GE Shipping, Info Edge or Naukri, as well as ONGC and Saxoft. So those are the counters to watch out for on account of dividend eligibility. But moving on then, in terms of IPO watch, subscription does open for NTPC Green. So that's the one to watch out for. And in terms of other events, then there is SpaceX Starship Flight 6 test launch. That is something that we're also watching out for. So those are largely the kind of events that you should be looking out for.
Okay, now let's get you the global stories and of course the kind of move we've seen in US markets. US on a relative basis, in fact, US market has been the best performing market so far if you talk about FY25. But then you talk about now S&P's latest target, and now a bit view has come in from the brokerages on the S&P 500. Now Morgan Stanley has hiked their 12-month base case price target to 6,500. According to the note, the firm expects the recent broadening in US earnings growth to continue in 2025 as well as Federal Reserve cuts interest rates into next year and as business cycle indicators improve further. Now, they also remain bullish on quality cyclicals, noting that financials remain their favored overweight following an upgrade in early October.
Well, absolutely. Moving on then, well, that was the roundup coming in for equities. Nomura no longer expects the Federal Reserve to cut rates in its December meeting. Remember, this marks the global firm to signal a pause in the central bank's rate cut cycle amid Donald Trump's election win. Nomura now also expects the Fed to deliver only 225 basis point rate reductions at its March and June meetings in 2025, leaving the brokerage's Fed funds rate projection unchanged at 4.125% through the next year itself. Now, important to note here that Goldman Sachs as well as JP Morgan are in anticipation of a 25 basis point rate cut from the central bank next month as well.
Meanwhile, shares of Tesla, that one rallied following reports that US President-elect Donald Trump may be looking to a federal framework to regulate self-driving vehicles, a top priority for the US Transport Department. Remember, framework for regulating self-driving vehicles would be a major boon to Tesla, which has been promising fully self-driving vehicles for several years but has failed to deliver on those lines.
Then moving on, plane maker Boeing will be laying off 2,500 employees in the US states of Washington, Oregon, South Carolina and Missouri. Remember, layoffs are part of a plan to cut 17,000 jobs globally, or 10% of its workforce. The company, it is believed, can also use workforce attrition, selective hiring and sales of subsidiaries to reduce workforce. Shares gained a little over 2% in yesterday's session.
Like we reported earlier also that the key trigger would come in from Nvidia also. Nasdaq and S&P both closed higher. Street eyes quarterly earnings from AI leader Nvidia. The chip giant reports third quarter earnings tomorrow, that's on Wednesday, wherein investors will assess demand for chips and the sustainability of the AI euphoria that drove much of the market's rally this year. Meanwhile, Walmart was lukewarm in trade ahead of the retail giant's Q3 results, with retail sentiment inching up. Results, of course, being closely watched, insights into the impact of rising consumer prices on overall consumer sentiment as shoppers from all income levels.
Then moving on, US President Joe Biden in a first has given the green light for the use of long-range missiles for Ukraine to fire into Russia. These missiles are expected to be deployed into the Kursk region. Reportedly, Biden's decision also comes as Russia escalates its aggression, including a massive drone and missile attack targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure as well. In fact, we did have Ukrainian president who also reacted to saying that such things are not announced, missiles speak for themselves, and that these missiles will bring quote-unquote glory to Ukraine. Let's go across and listen in to what exactly he then had to say.
Сьогодні був один з найбільших та найбільш небезпечних за всю війну російських ударів. 210 дронів і ракет одразу, в тому числі гіперзвукова та аеробалістичні. Більшість цілей, на щастя, вдалося збити. Мішенню для Росії була саме енергетика, критична інфраструктура. І це відповідь усім, хто хотів чогось досягти з Путіним розмовами, телефонними дзвінками, обіймами, умиротворенням. План посилення України – це план перемоги. які я представив партнерам. Одним з головних пунктів є далекобійність для нашої армії. Сьогодні багато в медіа говорять про те, що ми отримали дозвіл на відповідні дії. Але удари завдають не словами. Такі речі не анонсують. Ракети самі за себе скажуть. Обов'язково. Слава Україні!
All right, now moving on. In the meantime, Brazil's President Lula opened the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro yesterday. The summit was launched with a global alliance to combat poverty as well as hunger. He emphasized on harmful impacts of climate change across the globe and called upon world leaders to show boldness in taking necessary action. PM Modi was welcomed by Brazilian President at the summit. PM Modi met Joe Biden also, UN Secretary General Antonio also, and as well as Prime Minister Lawrence Wong of Singapore on the sidelines of the event.
Alright, then it's the smog season that is making a comeback when it comes to Delhi, and Delhi's air quality also plunged to severe plus category for the first time this season, prompting the government to implement stage 4 of the graded response action plan. The Supreme Court yesterday also pulled up the Delhi government for the delay in implementing GRAP 4 measures, which will stay in action until further notice from the Apex Court. Let's also go across and listen into what Naresh Kumar, senior scientist at IMD, then had to say about the current situation there.
तो आने वाले दिनों में हमारा यही अनुमान है कि जो पंजाब और हरियाणा में जो कंडीशंस हैं वो 4-5 दिन ऐसे ही रहेगी. लेट नाइट अर्ली मॉर्निंग में वेरी डेंस फॉग आइसोलेटेड प्लेसेस में होने का अनुमान है. उत्तर प्रदेश में आने वाले 2 दिनों में रहेगा. एनसीआर दिल्ली की बात करें, वहां भी मॉडरेट डेंस फॉग आने वाले 2 दिन रह सकता है. आने वाले दिनों में जे अब नॉर्मल ही रहने की उम्मीद है. कोई ऐसा चेंज इस टेम्परेचर्स में नहीं आएगा. देखिए, जैसे दिल्ली में ऐसा था, मॉडरेट और डेंस फॉग कंटिन्यूस प्रिवेल कर रही है. कल भी डेंस फॉग था. तो आने वाले 2-3 दिनों में भी ऑलमोस्ट ऐसा ही सिनेरियो रहने का अनुमान है.
Okay, so there seems to be no respite coming in. That's what the word coming in. But we did caught up with pulmonologist Dr. Chawla on the long-term psychological impacts that AQI has on people. Let's listen in.
Whenever a person gets upper respiratory tract infection, it takes much longer to cure in Delhi. Used to take 2-3 days. Now the cough persists for many months, many weeks. And even asthmatic, they take longer to respond and their symptoms last longer. It has, and even talk about pregnant ladies. Not only there is a more preterm delivery, the child weight could be less, the child could be weak, and there are studies to show that there could be possibility of a birth defects also. And of course, the decreased immunity. So there are a lot of effect. We all know it, but it has to be a long term. Otherwise, we are not going to produce strong generation ahead.
Alright, then time for a very quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at how the Asian markets are faring, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe on ET Now. Now let's get you the cues from the Asian market. How are Asian market faring right now? Now, Australia's S&P ASX, that one is trading higher by 0.5% today. Japan's Nikkei, there are 2 economic data which has to come in from Japanese market. We'll have to wait and watch for that. But then in the meantime, Nikkei has opened with a strength of nearly 0.3%. It's up 112 points on Nikkei, whereas Topix is up about 0.65%. Let's get you the other markets also. As far as South Korea's Kospi is concerned, that one was trading higher. In fact, that was trading at a flat line only. Now it has fallen down with more than 0.5% on Kospi, as well as Kostak was also trading around the flat line. Now, Hang Seng, that one was higher by 0.75%, 0.7% higher, while the mainline China, CSI, that one rose by 0.3%. So fairly we've seen that it's a mixed set of cues which is coming in from the Asia market. Of course, the watch list on the tap is Chinese policy makers which are gathering for investment summit, and that one will actually bring us the more cues on China as well as for Nikkei also. But then in the meantime, meantime, GIFT Nifty gives us a good start, at least a relief or a respite after many sessions. Appears to be 40 points up. We are, it looks like we are up by nearly 40 points when we are due for open at 9:15.
Well, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in. Well, high voltage drama continues as Maharashtra readies to vote tomorrow. Campaigning for the high stakes assembly poll ends in Maharashtra and Jharkhand, two states being more than just electoral battlegrounds. In Maharashtra, of course, with the ruling BJP-led Mahayuti alliance striving to retain power, while the Maha Vikas Aghadi coalition also aims for a strong resurgence. Meanwhile, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi addressed the media, taking a sharp jibe at the BJP. Gandhi also mocked the "Ek hai, safe hai" slogan as he also showed a locker to the media, calling it a battle of ideologies. Remember, voting for all 288 assembly seats is set for November 20th, with results also set to be announced on November 23rd. So that is something that we're definitely looking out for. With just a day to go to the Maharashtra elections, a senior leader of the Sharad Pawar faction of the NCP, Anil Deshmukh, was arrested late last evening in the Katol Assembly constituency, where he is currently the MLA. Stones were pelted at the vehicle of the former Maharashtra Home Minister. Anil Deshmukh has also suffered serious injuries and was immediately hospitalized, and the police has launched an investigation into the matter as well.
All right, on the last day of the poll campaigning in Maharashtra, Congress leader and leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi, he took sharp digs at the BJP's "Ek hai to safe hai" slogan. He dramatically brought in a symbolic "safe" to the press briefing and accused the party of prioritizing the interests of business tycoons over the people of Maharashtra, mocking the opposition. Gandhi claimed the "safe" symbolizes the wealth of Mumbai, which he alleged was being targeted with the support of the BJP-led government. Gandhi also endorsed Shiv Sena UBT leader Uddhav Thackeray, promised to cancel the Dharavi project tender if the opposition Maha Vikas Aghadi alliance comes to power.
इस इलेक्शन का नारा मोदी जी ने दिया है और बिल्कुल सही नारा है। एक है तो सेफ है। सवाल है सेफ कौन है, सेफ किसका है, एक कौन है? We are absolutely convinced that this is theft of Dharavi land and it is being handed over to one person. इसी व्यक्ति को देश के एयरपोर्ट्स दिए जा रहे हैं, इसी व्यक्ति को डिफेंस की पूरी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की इंडस्ट्री दी जा रही है, इसी व्यक्ति को पोर्ट्स दिए जा रहे हैं, इसी व्यक्ति को धारावी दिया जा रहा है, इसी को मुंबई का एयरपोर्ट दिया जा रहा है। धारावी कैनॉट बी टेकन अवे फ्रॉम द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया। तो ये हो रहा है यहां पे और ये चुनाव का मुद्दा है, बैकग्राउंड में है, फोरग्राउंड में है। यही मुद्दा है कि महाराष्ट्र का जो धन है वो महाराष्ट्र की जनता को मिलेगा, महाराष्ट्र के लोगों को मिलेगा या फिर एक व्यक्ति को मिलेगा।
Alright, then that's a detailed lowdown coming in on the battle for two states, specifically Maharashtra as well. But moving on, then, American hospitality major Hilton Group of hotels partners with the Embassy Group to bring to India their premium economy brand Spark by Hilton in an exclusive conversation. Then, ET Now's Aishwarya Patil caught up with Alan Watts, President APAC, Hilton, and Jeetu Veervani, CMD at Embassy Group, to know more about their plans for India. Let's go across and listen in to a slice of that conversation then.
The whole idea is that, we go and find investors or families who want to own a hotel, 60 rooms, 70 rooms, 100 rooms, and then bring in the management of Spark and bring consistency, and also the main thing which you have to think of, the whole Hilton Honors program comes along with it. So give them that taste and make them be available for a consistent hotel. So here like every olive is different because it's designed already pre-built by somebody, and some are being built. But now the idea is, if any new ones are being built, our whole idea would be to make it a spark instead of making it an olive, and sitting with landowners and helping them to economically build a hotel with, the key costs being like 25 lakhs, 30 lakhs, and just sheerly by design and giving what the middle class actually wants.
So the branding wise, it'll all be only Spark now, or will it be
So,
Olive and
so Olive will continue to do these, hotels which are already built and abandoned, or they're not. Olive tries to prove to these people that they can make it more efficient and more profitable for them, which is already built. But going forward, the Spark will be the brand which will be pursue.
So, and the room rates, the price range, where does that start? If you could just mention that for the
So it's
benefit
like
of the
we're targeting 4,000. It could be like even lower, 3-tier cities, 2-tier cities. Could be even as low as 2,700, 3,000, depending on it. So that's the whole idea, that with this expertise, we, as long as we provide good quality management and make our small margin on it.
All right, moving on to now talking about the listed stocks. Swiggy and Zomato both have retained the festive season platform fee of ₹10, which was implemented last month. Now, this emphasizes the stickiness of the fees and the platform's ability to take such hikes. Somit joins us to tell what the analyst community are expecting and how much convenience fees other platforms are charging. Please draw us a relative comparison, Somit.
Well, both Zomato and Swiggy would continue to remain in focus given the fact that both the companies have continued to maintain the increase in the platform fee that they had taken just ahead of the festive season. Now, back in October, before Diwali, Zomato had increased the platform fee from 10 rupees from 6 rupees under the festive season platform fee branding, and Swiggy had also taken a similar hike. But despite the fact that the festive season is now over, or the festive period is now over, this increase in the platform fee has not been rolled back, and they have continued to charge 10 rupees on every order going forward. Now, this clearly emphasizes the stickiness of this platform fees and the company's ability to take such kind of hikes even going forward. Now, platform fee is generally a convenience fee which is charged to all users by Zomato and Swiggy, and both the companies have maintained parity in this hikes so far, which means that they have not taken any, there has not been any competition when it comes to at least increasing the platform fee. Now, what is the main question here on the street is that how much more could this platform fee be increased going forward. Now, this convenience fee charged by other platforms like Book My Show for ticketing and for travel, generally Make My Trip also charges such kind of convenience fee. This forms nearly 10 to 11% of the total price. Now, Book My Show charges a flat 10% convenience fee on movie tickets and a flat 7% convenience fee on other shows that we book, while for Make My Trip, the convenience fee varies from around 360 rupees to 1000 rupees on every flight booking, which depends on the route. So generally it is nearly 6 to 9% of the booking fee for any consumer. And currently, if you look at what Zomato and Swiggy is charging, it's just 2.3% of their average order value. Obviously, the frequency of bookings and orders are quite different. People don't order, people don't travel or book movie tickets as much as they order on Zomato and Swiggy. So the frequency is quite different, but analysts continue to believe that there is further scope of an increase when it comes to platform fee. Now, if you look at the timeline of the platform fee, it was started charging on August 2023. It was just 2 rupees, which was nearly 0.5% of the order value, and currently it is being charged at around 10 rupees on every order, which is around 2.3% of the average order value. And analysts continue to believe that there is further scope of increase when it comes to our platform fee going forward.
Alright, thanks Amit for getting us that update and analysis then on Swiggy versus Zomato. But time for a very quick breather on the show. When we come back, we'll take a look at the stocks that you should be keeping on your radar bright and early this morning. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe. Now let's get you some buzzing stocks. Ria is joining us with the stocks to watch. Ria, morning.
Yes, good morning. So let's take a look at the stocks that are going to be in focus today. First up, we have Vari Energies on the back of its Q2 FY25 numbers. Now, good set coming in here. The total income has gone up by around 3% on a year-on-year basis. The EBITDA has jumped up by 14% on a year-on-year basis to to 614 crores. Even on the margin side, we've seen an expansion. It has come in at 16.8% versus 15.1% this time last year. The net profit has also jumped up around 17 odd percent to 375.7 crores in this quarter, and they've also reported a healthy order book of 20 gigawatts for the September quarter. Now, further on Vari Energies, the board of directors has approved an investment of up to rupees 600 crores for setting up and developing infrastructure for developing renewable energy, renewable power projects, and for bidding pipelines as well. So, keeping an eye out on Vari Energies on the back of that. We also have the monthly update for GMR airports coming in, the monthly traffic data for the month of October. Now, they have handled more than 10.7 million passengers across all airports, which is up 9.2% on a year-on-year basis. Even the passenger traffic has sustainably been above 10 million passengers every month since December of 2023, and they've also handled the highest ever passenger traffic as well as ATMs on a year-to-date basis in FY25, which has crossed 74 million passengers and 0.48 million ATMs. We also have ITI Limited in focus today, since they have bagged a contract worth rupees 95 crores for mining digital transformation and surveillance systems in Uttarakhand. We also have PNB Housing Finance in focus today on the back of a bulk deal. Morgan Stanley has sold 11.3 lakh shares at rupees 864 per share, so keeping an eye out on that as well. We also have Z Enterprises in focus, since Mr. Puneet Goenka has decided to relinquish his position as the managing director of the company to entirely focus on the operational responsibilities that have been assigned to him by the board. And lastly, we are also keeping PSUs in focus today, since DPAM has issued consolidated and revised guidelines on the capital restructuring of central public sector enterprises, or CPSEs, and these guidelines have stipulated eligibility conditions for these CPSEs for payments of dividends, buyback of shares, issue of bonus shares, and splitting of shares as well. So, keeping all of these stocks in focus today.
Well, absolutely. Thanks, Riya, for getting us that list of stocks that we should be watching out for. But we also have Ansh who's standing by for the futures and options roundup then. Ansh?
Right, so let's start with FIIs. So we see that they continue to be bearish in cash market, but in index future we are seeing that they have added some shorts by around 1,400 contract, but at the same time they have added long by around 4,800 contract, which is a positive sign, due to which the total long position is around 24%, but they have been in this 20% range from last many sessions, indicating they have been consolidating around this level. Now, if we talk about Nifty, then here we are seeing very bearish sentiment, because Nifty has been declining for 7 consecutive session, and this is the longest selling streak seen in around 20 months. Also, it has touched its 4-month low level, it trades below 200 EMA level, and it has closed below that psychological level of 23,500. Now, if we talk about index future, then we are seeing that open interest has declined by around 1%, indicating long unwinding. So here we may see some relief, but if we talk about option front, then we are seeing very strong call writing happening at that 23,500 strike, indicating strong resistance around this level, and we are seeing open interest is up by more than 1 lakh a contract at the strike price. Whereas on downside, we are seeing some mild put buying happening at the very same 23,500, indicating option traders are not just expecting resistance, but they are expecting Nifty to stay below this level decisively. Also, if we talk about a Nifty Bank, then we are seeing that Nifty Bank has been actually advancing for second session. They are holding above that 50,000 mark. So here we may see some good relief, some good positivity. Also in index future, we are seeing short covering happening. Index future has dropped by around 1%, so which is a positive sign. Also today we have Fin Nifty weekly option expiry, so we may see some good volatility in financial stocks. So keep an eye especially on financial stocks today.
Ansh, keep an eye on the financial stocks, and the kind of F&O activity what we see could be another day for the sideways move. Thanks very much, Ansh, for that roundup. Now, Morgan Stanley has upgraded Suzlon from an equal weight rating to an overweight rating, though they have cut the target price. Varun is there with more details on the brokerage note. Varun?
Well, so Morgan Stanley has upgraded Suzlon from equal weight to overweight, and although they have cut their price target from 78 to 71 rupees, but still they see around 20% upside from yesterday's close. Now, Morgan Stanley says that the recent fall in the stock price is a very good opportunity to accumulate the stock. It is an opportunity to accumulate the stock at lower levels, because if you see from its 52-week high, the stock has actually corrected around 30 to 31%. Now, why they say this? Because they say that the company is a very big beneficiary of India's energy transition, and also they estimate India's wind additions will drive around $31 billion of orders from FY25 to FY30 for wind OEMs, and Suzlon has a very strong business mode and they have a large 5.1 gigawatt order backlog which is executable in the next 24 months. Also, they have higher offtake visibility and the competitive intensity is lower for Suzlon, and they expect the market share to increase to around 35 to 40% till FY27, and that's the reason they say that it's time to accumulate the stock. Although they have cut the price target from 78 to 71 rupees, but they have changed their stance and upgraded the stock from equal weight to now overweight.
Well, absolutely. So that's the take coming in as far as Morgan Stanley is concerned on Suzlon then. But let's get you some more news and updates from outside the world of stocks then. Punjab breaks all records on stubble burning, reports highest single day number of 1,251 farm fires. Fresh cases were reported from 19 of the 23 districts of the state as well. This makes Punjab responsible for nearly 50% of total cases, even as AAP shoves blame on BJP-ruled states. Moving on, then, situation continues to remain tense in Manipur. The centre has rushed over 5,000 CAPF personnel to the violence-hit state. Meanwhile, the Manipur government also has extended internet shutdown in the state for 2 more days. Moving on, then, within days of troops resuming patrolling at Depsang and Demchok sectors near the LAC as well, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is all set to meet his Chinese counterpart. The 2 ministers will be meeting at the sidelines of the ASEAN Defence Ministers meeting plus starting tomorrow.
All right, in the meantime, Congress MP and leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, visited the Golden Temple in Amritsar. During his visit, the Rai Bareli MP also offered seva at the Golden Temple. Moving on, in a historic collaboration between ISRO and SpaceX, India's GSAT-20 was launched into space by SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. The GSAT-20 is too heavy for ISRO's own rockets to carry, necessitating the collaboration. The GSAT-20 is designed to enhance India's communication infrastructure.
All right, then with that, completely out of time on this edition of Market Cafe on ET Now. From me, Shreyansi Singh, Priyanka Uppal, as well as the entire team that put this show together. Thank you so much for tuning in. You don't go anywhere because the market takes all of the action forward.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.